Hello, I'm Dusty Cider, and today I'm going to be talking about morality and ethics. Um, quick little sorry. I apologize if I'm not looking into the camera. I'm gonna be looking downward at what I have pre-written. I might go on a little tangent at the end if I want, but I don't know. And I'm looking at my face and not the camera, so I apologize in advance. Also, a quick disclaimer: I am not a perfect being. I do not say things perfectly. I have a neurological condition that makes it harder for me to process words, even if I have written them myself, and I have a speech impediment, so that makes speaking even harder. Also, I'm trying a new layout of putting, drawings. I know my drawings aren't the best, but you know what? We work with what we have. So, in today's topic, morality and ethics are something every person has different views on. The first thing I'm going to talk about is how I don't think anyone should say slurs, no matter if they are part of said minority or not. And I understand that me not being every minority means I cannot speak on everything, but I believe that this applies to everyone regardless of their situation. I've only said the N-word one time, and I'll paint a picture for you guys. I was about 7 or 8 years old, I would say, and I was listening to a song. For whatever reason, was just like, oh yeah, I will write down the lyrics of the song. I heard a word that I had never heard before, and I was like, what the hell is this word? So I guess I'll just look it up. And I did look it up, and I realized what the word meant. So from that day on, I have not said the word. It took me a couple of years to realize just how horrible the word was, and then it took me a couple more years to realize the history and effect that the word has on people. So this comes back to my first point that never, no matter what, should anyone say a derogatory slur. And I don't think this matters on race or sexuality or anything, because you might be wondering, why can't they say a slur that they are part of the minority of? And my answer to this is people can be racist and homophobic towards their own minority. This is also a question of morality, I believe. Morality is a system of principles and values used by individuals or societies to distinguish right from wrong behavior. Or, in other words, morality is the beliefs a person chooses to live by. I personally think everyone should be educated on the significance of slurs. If a person of a minority has faced discrimination because they are a said minority, then I believe they should know how horrible it is to be discriminated against. If you know how catastrophic it is to be discriminated against, why would you say the word that reminds people of that and that is used against people of that minority, if you are a said minority? I think this comes down to a lack of empathy, whether it is online or in person. People are either too sensitive or insensitive. Personally, I think that being insensitive is worse than being quote-unquote sensitive. The definition of sensitive is totally different from how people use it online. And the definition of sensitive is having the capacity to perceive, react, and be acutely responsive to external stimuli, emotions, and delicate situations. How the word is used online basically means you care too much when it's not that deep. And it is used to invalidate someone's feelings, and in online arguments, calling someone too sensitive or saying it's not that deep is usually used to shift the blame away from someone who is being disrespectful or toxic, making the person who is not in the wrong feel guilty for setting boundaries and just having human emotions. On the other hand, someone could be considered too sensitive for complaining about certain things that they could have completely avoided easily. For example, the watermelon trend. For those who don't know, the watermelon trend is when a character is depicted eating a watermelon, then the artist removes the watermelon and the character is seen as eating a woman's part down there. The simple fix, if you don't want to see that type of content, is select uninterested, block the creator, or simply scroll. Also, there's usually trigger warnings for sexual content in these. People are too comfortable online with bullying and outright disrespect and discrimination. I do not support this in any way at all. I will not support someone if they bully or do anything of the sort. It doesn't matter if you are alternative and, oh, well, the basics do it to us. Like, that makes you just as bad as they are, no? It does not matter how old, what race, what sexuality, what style you are, or anything else one is. Bullying is never acceptable, and it should never be seen as anything but unacceptable. It is way too normalized to be horrible to people online. What I think people tend to forget is that other people who have accounts that you are bullying and actively being rude and just disrespectful toward have their own lives and feelings and families just like you do. You are not the only person who matters, and I think people forget that. People forget other people exist besides themselves. Your words and posts do affect other people. And I think it's utterly stupid to post shit like that. Sorry for my language. I could use better vocabulary to describe it, but it just makes me so angry genuinely. The lack of empathy will be the downfall of society. And that's my blanket statement. People don't care about their actions unless someone loses a life or, it's normalized to, I know, a week ago I was bullying this person and sending them death threats, but now that it's popular to be nice to them, I guess I'll be nice to them then. People don't care about other people's feelings until someone loses a life. That might sound like a harsh statement, but I believe it is completely true. Everyone is so kind to the kids and teens and adults who have died, but then will be so rude to random people online, not knowing if that is the last straw. I'm not saying you have to be completely kind and just sugarcoat everything, but if you're going to be rude, for God's sake, comment on their wrongdoings. If you hate someone, don't comment on the things that they can't change. Don't comment on their appearance. I personally don't think anyone should be bullying anyone, but if you are going to be rude and bully someone and be disrespectful, do it against their wrongdoings. They said a word that they weren't supposed to. They defended racism. They were racist. They were homophobic. They were discriminatory. I don't think it matters who you are or what you are a part of. You should not be bullying anyone, but if you are, please be creative. Don't bully someone because of their looks that they can't change or that it's a personal style. Do it for their wrongdoings. Bully someone because of their wrongdoings, of personality traits that are not the best, that they have had time to fix, but time and time again have just not fixed that. And just to conclude this, I just want to say, don't be a bitch to people. Other people have emotions too. The whole thing of if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. That applies. Cringe culture is bad. Be cringe. To be cringe is to be free. I don't care. Don't care about what other people think of you. Do what makes you happy. You only live once. Surviving is not living. I would rather live and be quote unquote cringe than survive and be socially accepted. Bye, guys, girls, everyone in between. I am Dusty Cider, and this is me signing off. Bye. That was so cringe, but whatever.